I'm sitting with two very interesting people from the food industry. I have with me Anuti and I have with me Pratik Sadhu. Anuti is a food historian, she's a curator, and she's the author of the book Business on a Platter. Pratik owns and I would say has co-founded and is a chef of a very interesting restaurant in Mumbai called Mas. But today we're going to talk to them about the use of indigenous, as in the lesser known Indian ingredients that have come out of India, and how to put that into mainstream. I'll start with her and talk about how the kind of rich ingredients that we have in the country and how they've not been utilized or used properly.
Many countries around the world market their food products so well. They have special boards who undertake promotional and marketing activities. And more than that, everything is so well documented. And all these things I feel are very, very important in a country like ours, where the food tradition is so rich and so deep. We were in Chhattisgarh, in the interiors, in a very small town, which is the gateway to Bastar, which is just about opening up for tourism. And we got the opportunity to study some of the culinary traditions as well as some of the ingredients. And many of these were so unique that nobody even in the country knows about it. I came across an ingredient called dang kanda. Kanda, as everyone knows in Marathi, could be, onion. But this is the fruit of a tree which people boil or, they steam. They sometimes roast in open fires and they eat it. Very simple but extremely interesting. Chhattisgarh again has so many rice varieties. This is the rice bowl of India. There are seasonal varieties of rice that we don't know about and we don't think of, So that's again one commodity that should go out, that deserves to go out, and also stories about it need to be told from a historical point of view. There is spicing, I came across again, some village women were cooking for us and they cooked something with an ingredient called chabila in the tribal language. Now, this is such an interesting, I was wondering why is it called chabila? It's so colorful a term. But it's a common Deccani spice which is used in Hyderabadi food, in Maharashtrian food called patthar ke phool, which we all know quite commonly, which is a very distinctive, very powerful taste. And again, something which everyone should be acquainted with. So yes, many stakeholders, restaurateurs, food marketeers, the government itself need to all come together and give a concerted push.
How do we document what is just local and at the moment, is just word of mouth and how people know as regional?
Again, these are very, very local sort of traditions which nobody knows beyond that small region. And yes, like Pratik said, the need is to document them. The need is to talk about them, write books about them, write articles about them, do TV shows with them, do these kind of chats that we are doing with them and bring them to the mainstream. But then also I feel this is the publicity aspect of it, and so that these tastes get more popular. But how do local communities earn off their traditions? That is a very, very important question, for which entrepreneurship is needed, for which states need to promote entrepreneurship and championing local communities who can develop these products.
Pratik, what is the biggest challenge of using local ingredients in the food that you serve or you create in the restaurant?
I think for me, the biggest challenge is the supply chain. And I think it's just not me, any chef in the country faces that, right? And when we talk about local, the biggest question is what is local? My restaurant is in Bombay, right? So for me, we were having this discussion about what is local, right? But for me, we as chefs, I feel in India, we're just so lucky, and if you understand India, the topography of India, right from Kashmir to down south, you'll every season, you understand seasons, every season you get abundance of produce. For me, the biggest challenge, as I was mentioning, is the constant supply chain, right? So for example, I need, I'll go back to Kashmir because we get a lot of stuff from there, dandelion, right? it is found there, it is eaten there, उसके अलावा कहीं खाया नहीं जाता. I love that. So every when the season arrives, so the constant effort is to go there, get that produce, or fly it down, because that's the only way you'll do it, right? And there's no support system to do that, right? As a restaurant, then you have to make individual efforts to gather that. So I think that's the biggest challenge.
You mentioned dandelion. I mean, the other ingredients, any other interesting ingredient that you've used at Mask and created something?
Like so many, fruits from Uttarakhand. There are, I'll tell you, kafal and hisalu, right? They are those Indian berries which are only found in Uttarakhand. And if you see hisalu, it's like golden raspberry. It is. And kafal is exactly the same. Those are those two Himalayan berries, right? So the season is May, June. Every year we get around 30-40 kilos, and that's it.
Talking about food or becoming the food ambassadors or talking about ingredients, how do you think that channel would work and support?
We can do stuff jointly and have larger events maybe around something like this where there's both food for thought as well as food to taste. Actually, if the media comes together for this, and as well as we get support from both the public sector as well as private sector, then I think then it just becomes so much more powerful. But all these are extremely important tools in their own right, and of course, I mean, the proof of the pudding is always in the eating. So restaurants are very, very big channels to popularize any taste.
How can bigger establishments be a part of something that you're also working in terms of history?
There's a lot of responsibility on us also, just to promote these ingredients. We cannot just say कि हमारा restaurant है हो गया बस, that's it. I think the onus is a lot on us also, and there's a responsibility that we need to talk about India in 21st century.
I think we'll have to have more conversations, and we'll have to have many discussions, to see how we can develop this aspect. Thank you both for joining me.